There are 3 factors that significantly shape who you are. 1, your genetics. 2, your primary education. And 3, your upbringing. I'd like to ask all of you to think for a moment. What's one common feature all of these 3 share? Not one of them is in your control. It's just a matter of chance. But does that mean life is just a roll of dice? No. However, each one of us focuses too much on these chances, over which we have absolutely no control. Let me give you a few more examples aside from the ones on the slide. Your bosses, your teachers, your teams, the Bangkok traffic. The list is endless. But do you have any influence over these? Sometimes you wish you did, though. And when we're not focusing on these uncontrollable factors, we focus on the outcomes. But we can't control the outcomes either. In fact, about 90% of us here today are worried about an outcome in our lives right now. It can be the grade on your next assignment, the college you want to get into, or the next promotion you're going to get. But it feels like there's a piece missing from the puzzle. Do our lives just depend on the hand we are dealt? Should our central focus be on the results? No. And here's the missing piece. Chances plus choices equals changes. Have a look at this equation. There is one and only one thing in our control: our choices. We cannot control what chances come our way, nor can we control the outcomes. But we can control the choices we make. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'd like to ask all of you to close your eyes and think about something you used to dislike earlier. Go on, close your eyes. And just to make it a little trickier, it has to be something you love now. Why did this change happen? Is it because you made a choice? You can open your eyes now. Let me tell you a story about a choice I made. I love maths, but it hasn't always been this way. When I was younger, and I know I'm still young, I'm in year 8, but I used to hate maths, and I was really bad at it. And it was a choice I made personally to hate maths. But how did that choice change? Long story short, I went to an ECA, and I had some fun and found myself selected for a team going to Guangzhou in China, which, considering my luck, was exactly at the time we were meant to move to Bangkok. I had a choice to make. If I stayed, it would keep the family apart for months, with my dad in Bangkok, and I would have to move later, right in the middle of a term. If I came to Bangkok, I would have to miss the competition. After taking everything into consideration, I chose to go to the competition. This choice changed my life dramatically. It's the main reason that I love maths. The choice that brought on the change. While we're on the topic of maths, the equation, chances plus choices equals changes, can be looked at with a completely different lens. The past plus the present equals the future. Let me explain. We always receive the chances before we make the choices, so they're in the past. And the changes or the outcomes is what is yet to come in the future. But the only thing we have control over now is the choices we make in the present, in the moment, now. If these choices are so important and the only thing in our hands right now, why don't we focus on them? Well, because we're looking at the wrong variables of the equation, the past and the future. Let's see why. When we're too focused on the past, we don't make new choices. We often make choices based on what has happened to us. But just because you didn't like something or failed at it the first time, doesn't mean you won't like it later. If everyone gave up after failing the first time, where would we be? Would we have technology like computers, smartphones, and artificial intelligence if the inventors gave up first try? This is what happened to me as well. No, I didn't invent anything brilliant, but I was letting my first experience of maths, which probably wasn't so great, affect the choices I made. I chose to dislike it. But this dislike could have led me to ignore the competition, but I decided to stay and try something new. On the other hand, when we're too focused on the future, we get fixated on what if. What if I fall sick the day before my test? What if my speech doesn't go well? And the most common one, what if I fail? 2 of these have happened to me before. I'm hoping the speech won't prove the third one true. And this focus on how it might turn out happens more often than we realize. That's the past and the future. What about the present? A reason why we don't make these choices in the present is the classic not for me syndrome. We start thinking, this is not for me. Someone else can do it. Why should I? I've certainly used this line countless times. But how many times have you thought one of the following? This subject's not for me. This sport's not for me. Or even this job is not for me. But think about it. You are that someone to every other person on this planet, just as you are that someone to me. Interestingly, we don't only do this when it comes to ourselves. We do it when it comes to others as well. But when it comes to others, we don't see the chances they've received, nor the choices they've made. We only see the changes in their lives, the outcomes of their choices, not their past and what they've been through. And I can say from personal experience, this happens when you move schools. Especially when you move from a public school to an international school, people are very quick to judge based on their first impressions. Whether you realize it or not, people are judging you. By the clothes you wear, your accent, your skin color, and the stories you tell. Subconsciously, some of you were probably judging me as I walked up onto the stage. And some of those first impressions you had made up might have changed. But if it's the one thing I've learned personally from my experience of moving, don't judge others until you know the reasons behind their choices. Before I finish, I just want to leave you with one thought. Imagine if you were free to make choices in the present without worrying, without being judged. If you don't stop because you think it's for someone else, and a simple what if doesn't stop you. Well, the chance has been laid in front of you. The choice is yours. Thank you.